Hi, it's Aline
and Michelle,
and we are back today with another Girl Talk! Today's topic is going to be all about body positivity,
which I positive with your body. Sorry,
we all could use a little more of.
Absolutely, I know I could.
We composed a list of 4 questions?
Yeah.
4 questions, using questions that you guys sent in. I put out a little announcement on my Instagram story saying that we are taking questions. So we kind of just used that to gauge what topics you wanted to hear about. So these might not be directly your questions, but we kind of gathered like an average of what everybody was interested in seeing, and we're going to be addressing those topics today. What's the first question, Aline?
Oh, our first question, getting real personal here, is what is your relationship with your body?
So my relationship with my body, it's been kind of got some ups and downs.
A journey.
It has been a journey. I feel like I'm on The Bachelor right now.
This journey.
I have always been a more skinny person. I was born and I was underweight, and the doctors even gave my mom these like weight gaining things, and it just didn't work. Straight up always had a fast metabolism, was born underweight, kind of was underweight for a while. In high school even, on my little driver's permit, it says I weighed like 95 pounds, and I was probably 14, 15 years old. I've always been on the skinnier end of the spectrum, which, you know, has its pros, but it also has its cons. Like, I have dealt with, I don't even know how many comments, not so much now, because I feel like I've like filled out a little bit, I don't even know how many times I've heard like the sentence, eat a sandwich. And I used to have this horrible friend who would just constantly tell me that I was malnourished, and she would basically like force feed me like piles of foods constantly, and like would make me feel guilted into eating an amount of food that was like insanely like almost to the point of vomiting. Like,
Jesus,
I faced a lot of pressure being smaller in those kinds of areas, which was very scary and had a very negative impact on me. And even though I was smaller and I've dealt with comments about me being anorexic, needing to eat a sandwich, me needing to eat more in general, I thought at points in my life that I was fat also, which is ridiculous. I remember when I was around 12, I like looked at my stomach and I was just like, oh, I have like a big tummy, I need to like go on a diet. And I was just like, I probably weighed a solid 80 pounds. Which is really scary. But for the most part, besides those issues, especially when I got to like middle of high school / end of high school times, I kind of just like filled out a little bit my body, everything kind of settled, and I just became a lot more comfortable with my body, and just started like taking care of it more after high school. And currently I'm lucky enough to be at a very good space in my body, and that's not because of what my body looks like, it's just more of like a mental space that I'm very lucky to be in, but also I have worked on it as well. And for me it's more about health than what it looks like.
The aesthetic.
Even though I like how my body looks, I kind of love my body despite its flaws. I'm not saying that it's perfect. My thighs are definitely not the smallest, and I have cellulite, and I don't have a perfectly flat stomach. My arms aren't that toned, they're kind of like noodleish, like Justin Bieber circa 2008. So it's not perfect.
He was just going, I think he was on YouTube.
Yeah. It's not perfect, but it's pretty damn good.
My journey has been a picnic, my friends. My relationship with my body has been hella rocky. I remember like the first time I muttered the words, I'm fat. I was 7. Like, what the fuck? And it wasn't even because I thought I was fat, or I even really knew what that word meant. I just saw it like on movies and TV shows that girls would be like, I'm fat. I didn't like, does my butt look big in this? Like all this stuff. I just thought that like that was the way that like older girls, like mature girls,
like that's what being a teen is all about.
Yeah.
Hate yourself.
Yeah. I remember the first time I put myself on a diet, I was 11 years old. It was because when I moved to the United States and I had come from only being like homeschooled and being around just, my peers were my family, my cousins and Michelle, and so when I was around other kids my age again, it was kind of like a shock because I was super overdeveloped, but I never registered that because I was always around older people. Michelle and my cousin Dee Dee and Sebi, who were older kids, and I realized that I was big for my age, and not because necessarily I was fat, it was because I was overdeveloped, and that kind of is a common thread throughout my like middle school and early high school years is that everyone was so much smaller than me because they still had the body of like children.
Yeah.
That kind of has petered out throughout getting older, which has made it a lot more easy to be more at home in my body. So when I got to high school, I started exercising regularly for the first time because I joined my high school's cross country team. That was probably like the best relationship I'd ever had with my body. I was running like 28 to 30 miles a week. I was feeling one fly. It was a nice time. But then I hit 16 years old and I got into the most dark, crippling depression I had ever had. Mental health. And I gained 15 pounds. And that was really difficult. And so with that,
You've kind of just always had like a huge fluctuation.
yeah, that's kind of just the way my body works. Right now, though, I'm coming out of kind of a dark time and coming into the light. I've lost 15 pounds. Update, thank you. No longer 10, guys, it's 15. But through that, I'm learning a lot about like the misconceptions that I used to have about weight loss and my body. I used to be like, okay, well, I'll love you when like you've lost like 20 or 25. That's always been the way that I've thought about my body, and now having lost a significant amount of weight, I'm learning that it's so much more
About like every step.
yeah, it's just like you have to love yourself where you're at. You can't be like later, because
then or if not, that's not for the right reasons.
Yeah, and when is later, really?
Yeah.
Next question. How should you deal with body insecurities?
Oh man.
Here's something that I think every person should be doing. When I know that when I'm at my lowest point with my body, when I hate it the most, I avoid mirrors.
Yeah.
I like don't look at myself because I'm just like, I hate you. I used to hate my boobs, like massively. I'm talking like without a bra when they're just hanging. I used to hate them. Hate them. I thought they were too big and too flappy and my nipples were too large. You know? Like, I think that's a pretty common girl thought, but I used to hate them. You know what made me like my boobs? When I took off all my clothes and stood in front of a mirror and just
Appreciate it.
and started moving out from different angles, and I realized that if I did this, I really liked the way that my boobs looked. I was like, oh my god,
like
you look great like this. And that made me start thinking like, oh, they have their moments. Try to face your problem head on if you really don't want to deal with it like I used to.
Remember that everybody has insecurities, because that makes you feel so much less alone. Everyone else has something. Like, everybody has something that they don't like. And there's never going to be a point where you're just like, I have absolutely nothing that I feel like a little bit about.
Yeah.
I feel like you just need to remember that your body is here to help you move and to help you survive and to help you live your life. Like, this is your home, and it's so much more than what you look like.
Yeah. And I'm sorry, but like, if you have like a healthy body that can like, you can walk and you can run and you can swim, I don't know. That's a blessing. So I think that also like bringing it back to this place where it's like, okay, well, I have this roll up here under my boobs that I like to call these my nuggets. That's just me. Sometimes when I get really down about my nuggets, I go, oh, my nuggets, and then I remember that having nuggets is a pretty first world problem.
Yeah.
It's like,
some people don't even get to have nuggets.
Yeah, some people don't because they're starving. I think sometimes a lot of people put pressure on like, just love yourself, you know?
Yeah, and that's so impossible. Like, it doesn't work that way.
It is a process, and I have found through health and exercise that
that's a very good tip.
When you take care of yourself, when you're nourishing your body, you're treating it well. You start to think of it well because you're respecting it by doing all these things.
Yeah.
But that's the thing, guys. You gotta do it out of respect. You can't do it because you hate it.
When you exercise and you eat better, you eat your fruits and veggies, you drink your water, you will automatically, like physically, because of science, feel better.
Yeah.
So then you'll feel better up here as well. Like, it just happens. It might take you a hot sec, but it will happen. Even if you might not actually be looking different, you'll feel better about yourself.
There's a placebo effect that comes along with like exercise, where because like I know that sometimes if I'm feeling really low and I'm just like, I hate this bit, like my like second chin that hangs out here, like just chilling, I'll go on like a run, and like after the run I'm just like, oh, it's like vanished, you know?
It's gone.
You feel so good because of endorphins, and you're just like, look what I just did, killing it. Next question: how do you prevent yourself from comparing yourself to others? That's a pretty tricky one in this day and age.
Yes, because on social media, you're just bombarded with all of these visuals of perfect looking people, which is really, really hard. It can be really draining to just like,
So just seems like so many things that you are not.
yeah. You try not to compare yourself, and that's really hard, and I think it takes a really long time, but when you find yourself like starting to like look at people's body parts and like pick apart yourself, like just drop it and like do something else.
There's so many different types of beautiful guys. And like, I used to think that the only way to be like aesthetically beautiful in the face was to have giant eyes. I was just like, when I was like in middle school, I was like, if I'm not Amanda Seyfried, then I'm garbage. Like, I just thought that that was the way that faces worked. And then I started watching One Tree Hill, and I saw Sophia Bush. And Sophia Bush has tiny eyes and tiny lips. And I was just like, striking. And I just think that that's the most important thing to remember. There's so many different types of beauty. And beauty is subjective.
I think Hello Katie posted this on Instagram or something, or she said it in a video where she was just like, both roses and sunflowers are beautiful, but they don't look the same.
Yeah.
They don't look anything alike, but they're still beautiful flowers.
Here's the thing, the most important thing, guys, is that there's no right way to have a body. For me, I know a big thing is just like, if I feel very like threatened by like a person, I won't like their picture, and I'll be like, no, they already have too many likes, they already have the perfect figure and fit. Then I catch myself, and I make myself scroll back up and double tap because I was being petty. You and that person are separate things, and you got all your pros and all your cons, and they've got all their pros, and they have cons too, even if they aren't on like full display. Because your cons aren't on full display.
No, those girls on Instagram, they go out first thing in the morning without eating breakfast with their stomachs perfectly flat. They've self-tanned the heck out of their bodies, and then they're posing their bikinis. They're not going and eating a big lunch and then coming out for a photo shoot.
I'm just like sitting like,
and
when
sitting
you
like
hunch.
this, where everybody has roles sitting like this. They are going to take a picture of their best angle. They're going to take a picture on their less bloated day.
And last question, you both have different body types. Does being so close help you with body positivity?
I think for us it's really good because I have this perspective of people who are curvier.
Oh,
and I know their story and their journey so much more, and I think I'm a less judgy person, I'm more accepting, I'm a more loving person because of it, and I feel like I have this understanding that a lot of women who are my size just are absolutely unfamiliar with.
Absolutely.
And I feel like you have the same, you are the exact same thing, because I know that there are a lot of women who are curvier or are on the larger end of the spectrum who shame skinny girls constantly.
I'm not one of them.
And Aline, you're not like that at all. And you're just like, no, like being skinny can be just as hard as being curvy.
Growing up, like through puberty, I expected to look like Michelle because I was growing up.
You're like, she's my older sister.
She's my older sister. Like, that's just the way
I'll turn up that way.
And then we turned out completely different sizes, and then at first I was just like, but different, you know?
Yeah.
But now we're here, and I just feel so grateful. It keeps me from going from that, like, to that petty place where I'm just like, yeah, well, they probably don't even eat cake, and they probably just, like, count their calories every day and are not even living, you know? Because, like, that's what people do sometimes if they're a little bit more, like, thick, and they're just, like, sometimes I think that people naturally go to a
place of hatred.
Yeah, which is unfair. And it's sort of enforced the idea in me of that whole, like, so many different kinds of beautiful in the world, because I look at Michelle and I'm just like, a goddess, you know, and then I also look at me and I'm like, not too shabby. And so
semi-goddess.
0.5 goddess. Also though, Michelle is my biggest supporter, I think, too. Michelle sees like all of the raw and real.
There's definitely been phases in our lives where you've been way healthier than me and you could like run farther than me, and no one would know that by looking at us. They'd be like, oh, that one's the one that eats McDonald's and that's the one who's always on the treadmill.
I think that's actually very fair.
Yeah, and so it makes me like see the world through less judgmental eyes. Like,
Michelle is always very good at catching me in this. She says, would you trade your body for this person's body? But in return, you have to give up your acting skills, your singing voice, your sense of humor, your ability to bake, like XYZ. But you'd have the perfect body. And I always say no. And then she goes, eh? You know, she goes, that's the thing. That's the thing.
We as women, we are all beautiful in our own way. Yes, that is true, and I'm happy that's becoming a trend that is being talked about and being brought out into the media, and everybody's kind of like buzzed about this topic. But being beautiful is not all that you are, and it's not the most important thing in the entire world. And I feel like we are so, we easily forget that.
I want to just laugh my ass off with someone who's hilarious, no matter what they look like.
Exactly.
And the thing is like sometimes even I forget that like at the end of the day, I would rather be me than anybody else. And I forget that all the fucking time.
And we're all gonna end up wrinkly and saggy and lumpy.
Unless you're Jane Fonda. Then you'll just be beautiful forever.
Unless you get some work done with a great plastic surgeon. You can control how nice you are to people, how generous you are, how much you bring people up, how much positivity you put out into the world, how much you pour yourself into your passions and your hobbies and your career and like create a beautiful life for yourself. It's not all about like, oh, my nose is too big and I could probably lose 5 pounds so I didn't have this like baby belly all the time.
We're just you drawing inspiration. Even if you're just nice. That's really
even if even if you're shit at everything. If you're a nice person, that's something.
That's good enough.
Yeah, that's good enough. You guys are all perfect and beautiful and wonderful people, and don't let anyone else make you feel different. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you have any questions that we didn't answer or anything that you want to say, please leave that down below in the comments. We love to talk to you guys.
Yeah, if you guys want to like support each other down there, go ahead too.
Big ol' love fest down there. Big ol' love fest. Make sure to like this video for more girl talks. And if you want to follow us on social media, all those links are always down below.
And, of course, don't forget to
subscribe!